Hey everybody, hope that you're doing well, having a great day. We are continuing our look at the book of Acts. We are in chapter 4, and I'm going to start out by giving you the first 4 verses and then talk about the story and then finish it off with the verses that come towards the end. So in chapter 4 we read, "And as they were speaking to the people, the priests," this is Peter and John speaking, "the priests and the captain of the temple and the Sadducees came upon them, greatly annoyed, because they were teaching the people and proclaiming the evening. But many of those who had heard the word believed, and the number of the men came to about 5,000. So they're preaching and teaching, and they're talking about Jesus has risen from the dead. The leaders, the Jewish leaders, the high priests, the Sadducees, the Pharisees, they don't like what's happening, so they put them in prison. And they come to Peter and John, and then Peter explains, filled with the Holy Spirit, explains, this is what happened. Eventually, they tell them to leave the room, and the leaders are going to talk about it. And so we hear in verse 15, "But when they had commanded them to leave the council, they conferred with one another, saying, 'What shall we do with these men? For that a notable sign has been performed through them is evident to all the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and we cannot deny it.'" They're going back into chapter 3 where he's healed a man, and what do? Well, we're going to tell them they can't talk about Jesus anymore. That's the solution. So that's what they tell them. But Peter and John answer them in verse 19, "Whether it is right in the sight of God to listen to you rather than to God, you must judge. For we cannot but speak of what we have seen and heard." And they further threatened and then just told them to get out. It's an amazing statement that Peter and John are making. We know we're supposed to listen to you, but we're going to follow God. We're going to follow what God has called us to do, and God has called us to preach and teach about Jesus. And so that's what we're going to do, and we'll suffer whatever the consequences are. Can you imagine if we really did that? Not in a way that's in your face, but we do it with love and with grace and mercy, and we help people to see really who Jesus is. We do it by the way we live our lives. We do it by the way we help each other, talk to each other, minister to each other, extend a helping hand to each other, show it in humility, show it in grace, show it in mercy, show it in our power and our strength. If we would do that, can you imagine how the world would see Christians differently? Not in your face type of preaching, but just proclaiming who Jesus is and then living that life. Remember, go back to Acts 2, verses 42 to 47 of what the early church looked like. We're going to talk about that as well, because we see almost the same thing again in Acts chapter 4. So I believe it's the call for the church to serve others, to practice humility, to show grace and mercy, to proclaim Jesus, and then show Jesus. Have a great day, and God bless you.